You are walking alone in a forest. Your phone has no battery. The sun is dropping behind the tree line, and the air is turning cold. You hear a branch snap, close, somewhere to your left. Something moves through the underbrush, low and fast. Then it's gone. So quickly, you're not even sure what you saw. Your heart is pounding now. You freeze and hold your breath, because you have always believed one simple thing. Out here, you are the weak one. You have no claws, no sharp teeth. You cannot outrun almost anything that might be hunting you. You have never questioned this. It has always felt obviously true. But here is something almost nobody tells you. That animal in the trees was far more likely running away from you than toward you. And if you get this wrong, you will misunderstand every wild place you ever step into for the rest of your life. So, why are some of the most dangerous animals on this planet afraid of a species with no claws, no fangs, and no fur? Why would a powerful predator, built with teeth and claws made for killing, be terrified of the weak ones standing in the clearing? Here is the simple answer. For thousands of years, without most of us ever realizing it, humans have quietly become the most dangerous species almost everywhere we go. Santa Cruz Mountains, California, 2019. Wildlife researchers hid 25 speakers across 2 separate patches of wilderness. For 5 straight weeks, those speakers played recordings of ordinary human voices over and over at random intervals from locations no actual person ever visited. Then the researchers watched what happened. Mountain lions wearing GPS tracking collars avoided the areas around those speakers, moved more cautiously, and kept their distance, even though there was no real human within miles. Scientists call this a landscape of fear. It means an animal changes its behavior simply because a predator might be near, even when that predator never actually shows up. A mountain lion is one of the most powerful predators in North America. It does not normally run from a noise, but it ran from a recording. One looping sound file reshaped the behavior of an entire ecosystem. Bobcats, which used to move freely during the day, switched almost entirely to hunting at night near those speakers. Skunks cut their overall activity by 40%. Opossums, oddly enough, cut their foraging by 66%. And here is the strange part. No human predator ever actually appeared in that forest. It did not need to. The mere possibility was enough to change how an entire community of wild animals live. But one experiment in one American forest is not enough proof by itself. So does this fear hold up anywhere else on Earth? Or is Santa Cruz just a strange exception? In 2023, a team of researchers led by biologist Liana Zanet traveled to Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa, home to one of the largest remaining lion populations on the continent. If any place on Earth should make an animal more afraid of a lion than of a human, this is it. The team hid speakers at watering holes across the park and waited for animals to walk by. When triggered, a speaker played one of several sounds. Lions snarling at each other, dogs barking, and gunshots representing a hunting party, or simply humans speaking calmly in the region's most common languages. 19 different species were tested, everything from giraffes and hyenas to elephants, zebras, leopards, and rhinos. The results were almost unbelievable. Animals were about twice as likely to flee from a calm human voice as they were to flee from a lion. And when they did run, they ran roughly 40% faster from the sound of people than from the sound of the continent's most feared predator. One elephant got so angry at the recording of a lion snarling that it charged the equipment and smashed it to pieces. It never did that for the humans. Lions are the largest group hunting land predator alive today. They are supposed to be the scariest thing in that ecosystem, and a calm human voice still beat them. According to the researchers, this fear does not fade just because an animal has never personally been hunted by a person. It gets learned, reinforced, and passed on, animal to animal, generation after generation. So, is this fear based on logic, or is it some kind of animal superstition? Let's look at the actual numbers. Starting with an animal, most people fear far more than they should. Fewer than 10. That is roughly how many people sharks kill worldwide in an average year, across every shark species, every ocean, every coastline on the planet combined. Now, compare that to the number of sharks humans kill in that same year, roughly 100 million, most of them for their fins or as accidental casualties in commercial fishing nets. Do the math. And for every single human killed by a shark, humans kill somewhere around 10 million sharks in return. It is not close. It is not even the same category of danger. Sharks are fast, powerful, and armed with rows of teeth built by millions of years of evolution. And they still lose this comparison by a margin of tens of millions. But one of the most unequal relationships in nature is not about sharks. It is about tigers. Tigers kill an estimated 50 to 100 people every year worldwide, concentrated mostly in a handful of regions like the Sundarbans, the mangrove forest shared by India and Bangladesh. Meanwhile, wildlife trafficking investigators have documented the poaching of at least 150 tigers every single year. And that number only counts the cases authorities actually catch and seize. The real total, including everything that slips through undetected, is almost certainly higher. The tiger is often described as the single most powerful hunter in the forest, and by these numbers, you are statistically safer standing next to a wild tiger than that tiger is standing next to you. If you still think this might be a coincidence, consider one more animal, one that lives right here in North America and carries one of the worst reputations in folklore: the wolf. In the past 100 years, wild, healthy wolves have killed exactly 2 people across the entire continent. 2. Yellowstone National Park alone welcomes around 4 million visitors a year and is home to roughly 100 wolves. Since wolves were reintroduced there in 1995, there has not been a single wolf attack on a person. Not one. Meanwhile, wolves have been shot, trapped, and hunted by humans for generations, in numbers that folklore conveniently never mentions. So, if this fear is this consistent across continents and completely different species, there has to be a reason. Here is that reason in one term: super predator. This is the term ecologist Chris Darmon and his team introduced in a 2015 study published in the journal Science, describing what humans have become in nearly every ecosystem on the planet. Their research found something unusual. Worldwide, humans kill large carnivores like wolves, bears, and big cats at roughly 9 times the rate those same carnivores kill each other. And when it comes to fish, humans harvest adult populations at up to 14 times the rate of any other ocean predator. Here is the part that makes humans genuinely unique among predators. Most hunters in nature go after the young, the sick, or the weak. The individuals a population can most afford to lose. Humans usually do the opposite. We disproportionately target the biggest, strongest, most reproductively valuable adults, the very individuals a population needs most in order to survive. Nothing else in the natural world hunts quite like that. And every wild animal living near us is, in some sense, living inside the results of that math. Over time, this created something evolution rewards without mercy: pressure. Animals that instinctively kept their distance from humans tended to survive long enough to reproduce. Animals that did not usually did not get that chance. Generation after generation, across thousands of years, caution around humans stopped being just a personality trait. It became a survival advantage. And nature does not hold on to traits that fail that test. But this fear is not only something animals inherit at birth. Here is one important pattern. In many species, a single bad experience with a human is enough to teach lasting caution, sometimes for the rest of that animal's life, toward a specific smell, shape, or sound. Add to this something scientists call neophobia, a built-in wariness of anything large, upright, and unfamiliar. And an animal can start treating humans as dangerous before it has any direct proof at all. Fear of humans does not need thousands of years to take root in a single animal. One encounter can be enough, and in at least one species, this fear turns out to be far more specific and far more intelligent than simple caution. In Kenya's Amboseli National Park, researchers recorded men from 2 different communities speaking the exact same harmless sentence: look over there, a group of elephants is coming. One group was the Maasai, who occasionally clashed with elephants over grazing land and water. The other was the Kamba, farmers who almost never come into conflict with elephants at all. When researchers played these recordings to wild elephant families, the difference was immediate. Hearing a Maasai man's voice, elephants raised their trunks to smell the air and bunched tightly together in a defensive formation around their young, at roughly twice the rate they did for a Kamba man's voice, even though both men said the identical sentence, calmly, in an ordinary tone. The elephants could even tell the difference between a Maasai man and a Maasai woman or child, who posed far less threat and reacted with far less alarm to them. This is not blind instinct. Researchers believe younger elephants build this danger map by watching how their matriarchs react, passing detailed, specific knowledge of exactly which humans are dangerous down through generations. The same way you might warn a child about one particular street or one particular stranger. There is one more piece to this puzzle, and it might be the biggest one. Here is one habit that makes humans especially frightening to the rest of the animal kingdom. When we threaten a predator, we are rarely alone. We show up in groups. We carry tools that can kill from a distance no claw or fang could ever reach. A gun or spear does not just remove one predator from a population. It teaches every surviving animal that witnesses it that real, lethal danger does not require claws or teeth at all. It can come from something that looks weak, moves slowly, and stands upright on 2 legs. But does this mean every predator fears every human, always, everywhere? No, not even close. Here is the exception, and it matters just as much as the rule. Fear like this can disappear quickly. City coyotes that are never harmed or hunted grow bolder every single year. Bears that learn a campsite always has food will keep coming back. Fear or no fear, And in places where humans have left entirely, some animals lose their caution within a single generation. Fear of us is not permanent, and it is not automatic. It is a lesson, taught by consequences, over and over, across an entire species. And like any lesson, it fades the moment nobody is left around to keep teaching it. So that shape you saw moving through the trees was never planning to attack you. It was doing exactly what almost every large predator on this planet has learned to do around humans over thousands of years of hard-earned lessons, staying away from the most dangerous thing in the forest. You were never the weak one standing in that clearing. You just never realized you had already won, long before you ever stepped into the trees.